Hello everyone. I've been fiddling with a project and I thought that I would share it with you. Let me see if I can tip this so that it doesn't go all over the place. I have created some little smiling faces to keep me company. They are just made from pieces of paper and I put them in this little fishbowl with some buttons to stand up the bookmarks. I guess they're kind of like bookmarks. I'm using the buttons like a florist would use the little stones to put flowers into so that they stay upright. And I used buttons because that's what I have, and they're colorful and they're fun, and I have tons of them. So all they are is strips of paper with faces put on top of them. This is a three-part project. The first part, I've got buttons everywhere. The first part is getting strips of paper together. So I'm going to show you how I did these. I have a bunch of strips of paper. Some of these are on cardstock. Some of them are on watercolor paper. These are leftover. Some of it's just paper that I have cut off of something. They're just leftovers if I was making a book page or something and it was too long, you know, cut off the little bit, a strip of whatever. So I've got a ton of these strips of paper. I was saving them to do kitties with, but this just I decided to do this project with some of them, as I have plenty of pieces of paper here. So the first thing is gather some pieces of paper. I used for some of it, I put together, you know, I collaged bits of paper onto a piece of cardstock, and then I added some stamps, some stencils, some doodles, paint, that kind of thing, and then cut this up into strips. I have some watercolor paper that I was adding color to, and these would be great for just cutting up into strips, using them for a base. I did take apart one of the sketchbooks, my journaling by fives, that I didn't like and I've had hanging around for a long time. I tore the pages that had paint on them out, and I will be cutting them into strips and using those as bases for these little bookmark people, happy face people. Happy face people, I guess that's what they should be. You can use scrapbook paper, you can use, you know, painted papers that you've got. What I did when they are just paper, they don't have a lot of body, they don't stand up very well when they're this limp. So I just cut some strips from some pieces of cardstock or pieces of cardboard or file folders and glued the pieces of paper onto the strips so they have a little bit of body and I can stand them up in my jar of buttons. So that's the first part. Get some strips of paper. And they don't even have to be painted. They can be, you know, just strips of scrapbook paper or, you know, just plain pieces of cardstock in happy colors, All right. So get your strips together, and they can be all kinds of widths and a bunch of different heights so that you can see them when they're all gathered together. All right? So the next part is a lot of fun. Gather together some faces. Now, I gathered mostly magazine images. But if you've got any art books, grab some art book images. There are, doodled pictures, family photo pictures, stamped images. This is a game piece. It's got a cute little face on it. This is a family photo. Any of those kinds of things would be fun. If you're missing your family, get your photos out. Copy some photos out if you don't want to cut them up. Cut them up into little bits and put them on bookmarks and stand them up, and so you have some company, so you have your family around you. Tim Holtz has those fun little people. You can find faces just about any place, all right? And what I was doing for some of the squares and circles is I got out my paper punches, and if I put the punch upside down, I can see exactly where my face would be. Got it backwards. I can see where my face is going to be and punch it out, and then I've got my little faces. So I'm going through all my magazines and images that I've got, and I am pulling out little bits of faces. They don't have to be square. They can be circles. I have my circle punches out here in different sizes. So I am punching out circles and squares. Sometimes I am just cutting around an image. This is a yearbook image. I have no idea who that is. You can fussy cut around the faces a little bit. You can cut your faces in half, make them more interesting. Here's a circle, a square, another part of a face. You could just put strips of eyes, strips of artwork. Here's a yearbook photo. They can be big, they can be small, they can be, tiny little circles, anything that you want. Gather those together so that you've got a bunch of faces to deal with. And then all you need to do is start gathering your strips of paper, get your faces, and start putting things together in little strips. Glue them on and have some fun with it. Go hog wild. Really have some fun. And then all you need to do is get a container so that you can stand them all up in a container. It could be a glass or a vase or anything, a box. Stand up your little friends so that you can see these wonderful little faces looking at you, and set them somewhere close so that you feel like you've got some company, so that you're not all by yourself. Now, this can be done, very simply, or you can really make it elaborate. Cut some shapes from your strips. I added a brad with an arm. I glued a piece of arm here onto a piece of cardstock and cut it out. Punched a hole, put a brad in it. Now I've got a moving arm, clock face. You can use any kind of faces for this. Get your basket of heads out. I know if you guys have been watching me, you know I've got my famous basket of heads with all those different weird things that I put on figures. You can use those same things for this kind of thing and make a little bouquet of fun faces to keep you company while you are isolated. And you're not going to feel quite so alone. This is a really easy project. You can spend, a couple of seconds with it, or I've been spending a few days, and it's been a lot of fun creating little friends, just creating some little friends to have with me as I create other things. So I wish you luck. Hope you find this project fun. Thanks for watching.